We're starting off this visual landscape tour with a view of Vieux Lyon from the Saône River. And at the back there we can see the metallic tower, which bears a striking resemblance to the Eiffel Tower and is the highest point in Lyon today, and serves as a television tower today. So as we're walking now towards the Vieux Lyon, we're going to see a striking contrast in the types of buildings that we're going to see. So on the right hand side we have Vieux Lyon, and on the left hand side we see newer businesses that have now taken place, and also the difference in the cobblestone streets as well. That will be a unique feature to Vieux Lyon and not so much in the rest of Lyon. So as we're walking now towards Saint-Jean, which is the name of one of the main areas of Vieux Lyon, where the tour will be situated today, we're going to see a lot more restaurants that will start to appear, like this one here. But this one is more international. As we go deeper into Vieux Lyon, there will be more aspects of traditional Lyonnaise cuisine in the form of bouchons, which is the name of those types of restaurants, like this one here. These restaurants feature Lyonnaise specialties on their signs and on the doors to attract those locals and tourists in as well, and providing a unique cuisine experience. And just behind us there was the Smoking Dog pub. So these places are both popular for locals and tourists, but those pubs with an English name do give a sense of familiarity with locals that do speak English and provide that sense of comfort and a drink after a nice stroll in the old town. So this square is where we usually find a lot of school kids in the afternoon or with their friends before strolling into Vieux Lyon or back home. So this is one of the main streets, Rue Saint-Jean, which is known for its touristy shops and businesses as well that specialise in Lyonnaise cuisine and little trinkets, like that shop on the left there. So we will see jewelry shops too, bakeries, and a plethora of souvenir shops as well. And although on this street we are going to see quite a few bouchons and restaurants as well, it is not actually the street that is most well known for this. This is more the touristy street with ice cream vendors and international stores for these tourists. But we'll be going down another street called Rue de Boeuf, which is where the fine cuisine and special Lyonnaise cuisine will be found. What's noticeable about this area is that we can find all the commerces and businesses on the ground floor, and there is the repetitive arches as well that we see on these buildings, as well as the narrow streets that kind of curve as you go down the street. So we can see the arches there on both sides and the cobblestone streets as well as a progressive theme. On the left here, we're just about to come onto an ice cream store called Terre de Lys, and it is an organic ice cream place that has been very, very popular, and during summer there are lines that queue up all the way down the street, and ice cream is a very big attraction in Vieux Lyon as well. So I'm just walking down one of these side streets, and as we can see, the side streets either lead to the river, so the Saône, which is just on the left there if we go down, or onto other parts of the old town. And again, what we'll see is the cobblestone streets and the narrow streets that lead into a curvature on the rest of the old town, and the arches as well that are found on both sides. And we're just about to walk back now to Rue Saint-Jean and making our way to Rue de Boeuf. But still we're on this street, and as again we can still see those specialty shops, and a lot of these shops are owned by local families or small businesses, so they have their own brand and their own specialties which are featured in these boutique shops here, which does draw a lot of customers in with their uniqueness on each store. So we find something different everywhere we go, even the stores that sell similar things. And coming on the left here, we're going to see a bakery just across this next one here on the left that sell praline goods, so praline tarts, praline brioche cakes, And this store, Pralis, is a very special store that has a great history in Lyon, and it is now considered one of the most finest bakeries in Lyon today. And as we come further into Vieux Lyon, as promised, there are a lot more souvenir shops that attract tourists. And because this was filmed during lockdown, it is very hard to pick up on the ambience that would usually be found in Vieux Lyon, because bars and restaurants are currently shut as well. But just the vast number of restaurants definitely gives off what kind of ambience is usually around in Vieux Lyon. So again, that was one of the side streets on the left there. And another souvenir shop. And on the red shop there, that's actually a small bouchon. So one of the more traditional ones that only cater to 20 to 30 guests, because it is usually run by families. So to keep up with the demand and with the fast-paced workplace, it's easier to serve a small number of people. And there are other specialty stores here. So this one is known as a conservery or a cannery. And what they do is they sell preserved goods like tuna and canned foods and stuff. And here on the right is a miniature cinema, and it actually progresses from another building that we will see on the other side. That is a very famous one, and it stands out a lot by its pink colours. So another ice cream store there. There are some ice cream stores that are international brands, such as Amarino, and that again is to attract those tourists that are wanting that familiarity, but also wanting that experience of strolling through the old city with an ice cream in hand, or sitting in the square with an ice cream as well. On the right here, we're seeing one of these silk shops. Now, silk is also a specialty of Lyon, and it is more renowned in the Croix-Rousse section of Lyon, but there are lots of stores in Vieux Lyon as well. And you can usually find very friendly shop merchants that are eager to tell you about the history of silk in Lyon. And most of them speak English as well, so you're able to find out really interesting facts about the history of silk in Lyon and how it has progressed to what it's become today. And for a good amount of time there, during the Renaissance period, Lyon became the epicenter of Europe's silk industry. So here now we're about to see the Saint-Jean Cathedral. It is a very impressive piece of work, and it took 3 centuries to build, from the 12th to the 15th century, and it expresses the Romanesque and Gothic styles. And it is actually one of the places that held a vigil for the victims of the recent French terrorist attacks as well. So now we're on one of the side streets again, but we're about to make our way back onto Rue Saint-Jean. But just on the left, we're about to see that Museum of Miniature and Cinema, which is what I was speaking about before. And so we'll see it contrasting with those kind of neutral beige buildings around it with its pink walls. There we go. And so this place was once a meeting for clerks and lawyers, and is now just used as a museum and also residential apartments as well. And again, there is a lot of explanations on these buildings, old buildings, both in French and in English, for the locals and tourists to be able to gather a sense of what the history was like. So now as we're walking down Rue Saint-Jean, we're heading towards Rue de Boeuf, and here just on this little side street there are a lot of bouchons, but what we're approaching now is a different type of restaurant setting that is more communal and brings people together, and has become quite popular as well. So on the right here, with those arch doors, is Food Tribble. So this is a new concept and features multiple restaurants that are housed inside that provide a very unique and communal eating experience. So everyone sits in the same spot, but they can either choose from dishes like pizza all the way through to lobster. So you can also find typical Lyonnaise cuisine in there as well. So there'll be something to suit everyone's tastes. On the left there we saw a park as well, so it's another place where you'd find small families and small children spending their weekends or after school time. So now we're continuing on to Rue du Boeuf, and we're going to see a few restaurants here as well as wine caves. So you can do some tastings as well and talk to the local business people about the area and the cuisine too. Here's another bouchon too. And again, it's the same layout with the cobblestone streets and the arches on each side. And as we just look right there, that is a tribule. So it is very unique to Lyon, and it was used mostly during the Renaissance by the silk workers to have easy access onto businesses and shops to buy goods for their family and food, etc. Or also easy access to the river. So there were lots of tribules that were found that had direct access to the river so that the workers could get home quickly and also do their shopping in a very easy fashion. So here is the Cour de Loge, which is one of the most well-known boutique hotels in Vieux Lyon. And as we can see, it's surrounded by bouchons as well. So the guests will be able to choose where they would like to spend their evening and where they would like to have a meal. This building that was used as well is actually one of the oldest Renaissance buildings that still stands and was renovated for use as a boutique hotel. And as we walk further along, we'll see these colours here, the pinks and the terracottas and the strong, vibrant colours of this architecture is very, very unique to Vieux Lyon here. So we're walking back down Rue de Boeuf, and I'm going to make my way onto another side street and make our way onto the perimeter of Vieux Lyon now. So as we get onto the side streets and onto the perimeter, we can see there on the left that bright blue and the newer kind of restaurants that are now opening. So on the left corner there, we'll see a more American style burger place, which is very different to the types of restaurants that we see in the centre of Vieux Lyon, but they do gain a lot of popularity from locals because it is different, but also the tourists that want that kind of cuisine as well. And on the right here, we're going to come up to the Palais de Justice, and it is a very monumental building that guards Vieux Lyon, and you most likely find people sitting on the steps with an ice cream or just stopping by on their way to and from the old town. So as we're walking to the left here, on the other side of the perimeter, there are no more cobblestones, and it is now the flat road. And we're right now directly across from the zone. And on this side there are a lot more bars and pubs and bouchons as well. But the ones that are more popular and more famous are the ones that we actually find in the centre of Vieux Lyon, which I have shown just before. And Lyon is a very sustainable city as well that provides lots of bikes like that we can see on the right, and scooters as well that limit the use of cars on the road with locals. Not only are there bars, there's also kebab shops as well, and pubs like this Irish pub that again either offer something unique for the locals or something familiar for tourists. So as we keep making our way down now across from the perimeter, we're about to see this square that is again very common for parents and their children after school to take a break and order an ice cream. So behind those trees there, we're about to see Nardon, which is one of the most iconic ice cream places in Lyon, and was actually mentioned by my teacher during our conversation for the oral history. And it's still really popular today, and again serves as one of the main attractions of Vieux Lyon. So you'll very likely see people usually sitting in one of the squares with an ice cream in hand, or strolling around the old town with an ice cream as well. So there we go, that concludes the tour of Vieux Lyon. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.